Okay, so that's rolling. You've got half an hour worth of video.
Okay.
So just have a natter, talk amongst yourselves, and then just come shouting.
What do we shout?
Well, just stick them out and some chips left.
Right. Hi everybody, welcome to the first race of the season for Red Seal Racing. We are at Donington this weekend, and as you can see from me sitting in the sunshine, it's glorious blue skies, and had qualifying this morning. Not too bad, it was a bit difficult, car off and couldn't get a clean run, but we did alright, P6, but you'll get a full race report later. Unusually for us, we've got a bit of time between qualifying and the race, so we're going to do something a bit different today. I'd like to invite you to join us in Dan and Dom's first date. So we thought we'd show you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes and what it takes to actually, run the race team and the people that you don't normally see when Patrick and myself are doing camera work or you're seeing stuff in the car, because there's a lot of hard work that goes in the background. So Dom here is from Competition Classics, and he and Chris run the car for us, because frankly I don't know one end of the spanner from the other, and we thought we'd have a chat today and tell you a little bit about Competition Classics and about Dom and Chris. And Chris isn't here actually, so Dom can spill the beans on anything he likes for us today. So Dom, welcome to your Dan and Dom's first date.
Thank you.
So tell us about Competition Classics. How long have you been there? What do you do at the company?
So I've been there for 3 years. I've come from a racing background. I used to build historic racing cars and run them. I used to do Austin 7s and Aston Martins and things like that. I then went to join Chris, where we do historic racing cars, we do restorations, we do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
We do general servicing, generally on the classic cars rather than the modern stuff. But yeah, we do a bit of everything.
This makes our 30-year-old car probably the most modern thing that you run.
Yes, yeah. This is the most modern, definitely the most modern race car that we do. I was going to say, Cash is slightly newer.
Yeah.
But yeah, this and Cash are the most modern things in the workshop usually.
Yeah.
But no, we do a bit of everything. We've got a couple of restorations going on in the background. We've got a Corvette and a couple of Minis.
Yeah.
Ferrari.
And does it tend to be more at the high end? Well, there's Ferrari there as well. Does it tend to be the sort of higher end historic kind of restoration stuff, or do you do sort of resto mod builds at on?
We tend to do, at the moment we've got more of the higher. We've got higher end and lower end, so we've got everything from a Mini that we're doing at the moment. We've got a Mark II Cooper S, and we've got a Ferrari 365 2+2 which we're doing. So we do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
We've done Aston Martins in the past. So we've got a Corvette which we're making in a replica of a race car. So that's what we tend to do at the moment with our restoration side. With our race side, we've got obviously Tango and Cash, and we've also got a MGB that we look after with a V8 in it.
And how's the MGB today exactly? How's that MGB doing? Because I believe it was on the circuit with Chris yesterday.
Yeah, apparently he had a very good day and then had a slight technical hiccup.
Now, was that technical hiccup anything to do with Chris's right foot?
No comment.
So Chris might have over-revved the engine, and unfortunately he was having a great race, but
last lap.
Yeah. Because of the over-rev on the last corner of the last lap, he had oil starvation and had to shut the engine down, so didn't quite finish the race, but was going for his best result so far. So as well as actually building the cars, Chris races as well. And what about you, Dom? Have you done any racing? Have you got any aspirations?
I've done track days.
Yeah.
I've not done what I would class as racing.
Yeah.
Purely because of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very expensive and I haven't got that funds at the moment.
Yeah.
So I enjoy doing my track days.
Now he's not here, he's over there somewhere, but who do you reckon would be faster? You or Chris?
Oh, I don't know. Probably Chris, because he's done a lot more recently.
Yeah, more practice.
So yeah, he's had a lot more practice.
But
and
at least
more
you get to the
experienced.
end of the race, though, right?
I'd hope
with a car
so.
that's probably in one piece.
Yeah, I think I'd look after it. But yeah, no, probably Chris, because he's had a lot more practice. But yeah, no, it's something I'd like to do maybe in the future, but just not at the present.
Okay. And so at work, do you have is there a particular specialism? Do you concentrate on engine building or setup work or sort of bodywork and restoration? What's Dom's kind of forte?
At the moment, I'm doing a bit of everything. So I will be doing Tango or Cash, doing all the race prep, the spanner checking, any maintenance that needs to be done for the upkeep. I'm then doing a lot of bodywork at the moment on a Corvette. So we're making a bespoke, well, I say bespoke, we're making an exact replica of a period race car. So there's a lot of fiberglassing going on, a lot of head scratching and trying to work out the best way to get to the end result.
Yep. And is it going to be a race car or is it
I think it's going to be a road car
that
he will probably track day rather than a full-on race car, but it will look like the full-on race car from period.
Cool.
Is the plan.
And I believe you've built FIA spec race cars from the ground up before as well.
Yeah, I mean we've looked after and built an MGB, and our latest one we finished off last year, I think, is a BMW CSL. So they call it a Batmobile sort of shaped.
Yeah.
But it's
one of these.
Yeah, one of them. Looking very similar. It's got our own custom livery on it, although it's a period sort of looking livery.
Yep.
So that we wanted to make it our own, but also incorporate the historic side of it, rather than just having a modern, in-your-face livery.
Yeah.
But I believe it's a Group 2. It'll be running in Group 2.
Yeah.
But
has it had its first race yet, or
it's been out on testing?
Yeah.
It's not had its first race yet, but it has been out on testing and it ran faultlessly, which is good. Customer was really pleased with it. I mean, Chris took it out to start with just to do the first shakedown, and came back and was absolutely fine. So that's good. But
it's quite a nice perk of the job. Not only do you get to build it, you get to go out and drive the thing as well. That's, yeah.
But I have to be honest, it is very nice. It's almost too nice to race.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah, it is. It's a work of art. It really is. But
it wants to be in the museum. Personally, I look at it and go, no, you can't race that.
no, you've got to. Yeah, no, you've got to drive them. Got to drive them. They're made to be driven.
But no, it is nice.
Yeah.
So, I do a bit of everything really. I've done engine builds. I've done gearbox builds.
Yeah.
Say that the rest, like the maintenance on the race cars, the race prep, and obviously the trackside assistance, which we're doing with you today.
Yeah.
So
without which, by the way, we wouldn't even make the starting grid. So it's definitely a massive help. Logistically, not only have you got cars to store, cars to prep. When we're going racing, there's a lot to organise just in terms of
kit,
general logistics, kit, spares that you need for the cars. There's a lot of actual work at the weekend, figuring out things like fuel loads to make sure that you're making minimum weight at the end of the race. Trying to work out how much fuel you're using, per minute, during the race, so you can calculate the optimal point, and then prepping the car, dealing with anything that Patrick's broken, on the car at that point.
It does tend to be, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's totally Patrick. I'd never do anything like that. Hey guys, how you doing?
15.3.
15.3. In fact, Stuart, come over here.
Oh, so it's been summoned. It's been summoned. Well, they're doing a bit of filming.
We are indeed.
Which is like the video, right? 15.3. 15.3.
Yeah.
Lovely, there's still 2 minutes 30, isn't it?
No, 2 minutes dead.
Oh, it's 2 minutes dead?
Yeah, 2 minutes dead.
Stu, your ass is right at the camera.
So,
Normally pay extra for that.
actually, if you, there you go. You've just got roped into an interview. Have a seat.
Oh, Christ.
So I get out of it then.
There we go.
Thank you. All change. Don't ask me anything controversial.
Oh, right, there's a challenge. So, opportunity to also interview not only the crew that are actually racing, but also the rest of the team that actually make all of this happen. So here we've got Stuart Gallagher from MSVT Motorsport, and Stuart actually oversees the whole series. So, Stuart, tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background? How long have you been in motorsport? What do you do for MSV?
So I'm Stuart. I'm very good at gate crashing interviews going on in the paddock, completely unbeknownst to me. Yeah, I've worked for MSV for just shy of 10 years now. My actual day job is new business, so I do business development essentially for the track day department.
Right.
Corporate events, group bookings, club events, and that sort of stuff. And for my sins, have been roped into the club racing side of it for many years. This is my 6th year of being what is now the MSVT Championship Manager role.
Yeah.
And I manage Super Cup, Enduro Car, TDC, which is Track Day Championship, and Track Day Trophy.
Good stuff. And have you ever done any racing yourself, or purely on the sort of management side of it?
It's kind of been a difficult timeline for me, I suppose. I had planned to go into racing in 2015,
Okay.
which then through the coordinator at the time taking maternity leave,
Right.
I then got thrust quite quickly into the coordinator role for Track Day Trophy, and as it was Teams Trophy.
Right.
And yeah, had to sideline my own racing ambitions to go and make other people's a
So
reality.
maybe we'll see you on the grid with us at some point in the future then.
I've always been quite keen to never race in anything that I manage.
Yeah, well, gamekeeper turned poacher, right? That's a difficult place to be, especially as we'd all be gunning for you.
yeah, and that's it. You know, can you imagine if anything happened whilst I was in the car out on the circuit? It would be particularly difficult to explain.
No, I'm sure nothing like that would happen. But, so what was the plan? What were you going to race?
Well, I had a couple of options. I've always been keen on a single make championship that isn't under the MSVR banner,
Okay.
so I'll be quite coy about that. But,
Fair enough, no problem.
I think Track Day Trophy, even when before I was involved in it back in 2014, it was something that it's a really strong way to start your racing career.
Yeah.
So that was my first thought, is to go and do Track Day Trophy and then move on maybe to a single make. But now with the way that the ladder internally works, TDC is such a strong graduation point from Track Day Trophy.
Yep.
I think the answer now would be do a couple of seasons in Track Day Trophy and move into TDC.
Yeah.
But before then, the graduation maybe wasn't so complete. So I may have gone off and had like I say, had a look at this single make championship, but yeah, it's difficult. Everything's always changing. Racing side's always fluid, and people have affiliations or a kind of a strong draw towards certain things.
Yeah.
I've always been a kind of like a Ford man myself,
Right.
which is probably partly why we started Enduro Car.
Fair enough, and Enduro car's going great guns. There's 54 cars on the grid.
51 yesterday.
51. Yeah.
Enduro Car's always been one of these things that where it's so close to us, we've spent so long trying to work on it and trying to ensure its success and trying to make sure that everyone else really enjoys it.
Yeah.
It's been quite difficult. At times you don't get the opportunity to step back and appreciate what it is.
What you've actually achieved with it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And you've had some pretty big celebrity drivers, attracted to it. So it's obviously getting quite a reputation as a fun series to race in.
Yeah, and it's always a privilege, not just for us as the organisers, but also for the guys on the grid that they get to race against these people.
Yeah.
And there are sometimes where you've got professional drivers and their class just shines through and they drive away, but the beauty of Enduro Car, and especially with the sort of people that we're attracting into Enduro Car, they're coming with their mates, they're coming with their crew members, their team members, and they might have a star driver, but they've got 3 or 4 club level drivers that will come in and they're racing at the same level. So although you might have one fast driver, you might have 3 other slower drivers. And actually the dynamic that brings means that their team fits perfectly into the demographic that we're looking at. JTR, for example, Nick Tandy, he's completely embraced the series. He comes in, he is really the epitome of what we're looking for. Friendly driver, gets involved in the paddock, gets involved with the team, and has a load of novice drivers that come along and they really enjoy it. And they
I mean, as a driver, you know, when you've got that level of professional kind of driver on the grid, and that gives you something to aim for. So in the Super Cup, you know, Ollie Pigley, you know, racing in here. I mean, it's a high bar for us to chase down as amateur drivers. You know, somebody racing in the BTCC, but it gives you something to aim for and shows you what's possible. You know, obviously in different cars, but you know, at least on the same circuit that you're racing. So. Tell us a little bit about the job then. Too good, too bad. What's your favourite bits? What are the worst bits?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword all of the time. So sometimes, you know, the favourite bits is being able to get involved, you know, and do stuff like this. See you guys in the paddock and spend a bit of time with you. That's great. Being able to, the social aspect is great, and being able to be a part of this. But then, you know, the flip side of that is that, you know, sometimes we're out of the hotel at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. We're not leaving the circuit until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and the days can be really long. But the flip side of that is we do what we do so that you guys can go out and enjoy your racing. And on a day like today where the sun's out and
it's mega.
Everyone's enjoying themselves, that's amazing.
And speaking of which, I've just been told they're actually lining us up in the assembly area to go out and race. So I'm afraid we're going to have to end it there. Thanks very much for everybody. Stuart, thanks very much for jumping in at short notice and doing the interview for us.
I think it would be great gate crashing, but thank you for having me.
Pleasure. All right, thanks everybody. Bye for now.
Cheers.
Cool.